were talking about. So, I don't know.
If the people paid for the rock labor, do we have a problem with putting the
No.
rock on it? And-
23rd is the only one I'd have a problem with, because I just couldn't imagine how much money you would have to put in there for rock, and I just really doubt if anybody wants to put that kind of money in. 19th isn't bad, it's basically, we could blade it, maybe throw a few loads of rock on it at the most. 13th Avenue down there, that'll probably take a few loads of rock, but it's something you would have to do every year. Yeah, if they want to do it, I'd say fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Well, as long as you're up there.
Right, okay, I guess what I'm saying is, on this handicap parking, we move it around to the front, we take out that one extra parking space. We have to put in a ramp, or they have to drive out into the street to get to the ramp. So it's not just a matter of, taking out one space. Now, we're gonna put a ramp in there for them, cut that sidewalk, put a ramp in. Then they have to go out into the street and travel portion, which is more dangerous.
There's no ramp off that side?
Pardon?
There's no ramp off that side? They have to
Nope,
go on this
no, that's all
What
curb.
is that?
They have to go out in the travel portion, come around, and then to the ramp. So we either put them into the street in the travel portion, or we put in a ramp.
Ramp wasn't part of the deal.
No.
That's why they're on the very end. They get out, they can go right onto the ramp. You put them around the corner, there is no ramp. So we either put them in the travel portion or build a ramp. Yeah, I didn't know how this was gonna go, so I was watching you guys on television, and I thought, maybe I better say something before it's too late.
But I guess they would prefer to be in the travel portion of the road, from what I understand, Lee, right?
Okay, I just
I mean,
wanted
that was
to.
their request, not ours, to change it.
Okay.
We didn't want to change it. It was, someone else that wanted to change it. So I guess that they're more comfortable with doing that than we
Well,
are.
he's here, we can
Yeah.
ask him, the one that brought it to her.
Yeah.
One of my Dollar General, a handicapped person cannot get up into a van
Yeah,
on a wheelchair, because that's the amount of that crowd. There's no way. My wife could never do it.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying that if we don't put a ramp in over there, then you have to go out in the travel portion.
That's just like walking behind a car.
Yeah, of course, when you're talking snow.
That's all normally plowed. Streets are plowed, the curb is not.
Okay,
The people shove their snow from the sidewalk right out the curb.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to remind you of that, because I didn't want us to come back later and say, you know what, maybe we're gonna have to put in ramps.
Okay.
Might get a little expensive,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna look very good. As far as throwing some paint and handicap signs up, that's a piece of cake.
Okay.
It's just something I thought I'd better bring to your
Yeah.
attention
We
before we.
appreciate that, Leo. No, we appreciate that.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So do you want me to bring back a ordinance that reflects
Bring
that
back
conversation?
We can put that out to the people and see what they want to do then, so.
I
Okay.
mean, that's,
Yep.
all right,
If you would, please.
I will get the modifications.
Okay. Next, we need a motion to approve a cigarette permit for Dad's Enterprise.
Little latecomer there on the, on the list, so everything's in order.
Okay,
Move to approve?
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under resolutions, we need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2013-70. A resolution approving contract change order number 4 with Wunsch Construction Incorporated of Green Isle for the 2012 Eagle Ridge Addition project for a net addition of $71,712.11.
This was this additional cost was to over excavate, where the road is going in. The subsoil conditions underneath the road had deteriorated so greatly over the beginning of this year and was not drying, even with all the dry weather. It was a situation where when they did soil testing, they'd get about a foot or two underneath, about 2 feet underneath, and it was just pure mush down there. Whenever they'd bring in the rock and roll the rock, it would actually pump up into the gravel. And if they set the pavement on top of that, the road would have not lasted probably even 5 years. So what they needed to do was to over excavate, bring in large stone, and added a few additional tile to get that section to dry out correctly. Or not to dry out correctly, to bridge the bad sections and dry out what sections they could. And that has allowed for the curb and gutter to start either today or tomorrow. And then to not delay the project, the engineer had guessed that this project could have very easily went into winter without being completed because the soil was so bad that even with some of the driest weather, it was never going to dry out. And there's a kind of the back end of that project, what would that be, the southeast corner, had a natural slope to it that they actually had to go down 3 feet to get it to get to soil that they could bridge. It was in pretty rough shape, but with this work, we're no longer dependent on the weather. With that rock in there, barring any crazy monsoons or anything like that, the road will stay on schedule now. So this has had a lot of interest from the 4 builders that are involved on the project and the many homeowners that want to get started on the basements and get started on the building. Many of their homes are actually already sold, so good to get it moving.
We need a motion.
So move.
Second. Roll call vote.
Goodell,
Aye.
Baumgarten,
Aye.
Rusher,
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Next, we need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2013-71. A resolution approving pay estimate number 5 from Wunsch Construction Incorporated, Green Island, in the amount of $161,968.99 for the 2012 Eagle Ridge Addition project.
After the improvements made, like I said, the project's less likely to be delayed by the weather. Last additional thing that one of the problems they ran into is they just happened to be at a point where they did not have the crown on the road as they were starting to put in some of the rock, and so that further exacerbated some of the problems when they had some of the heavy rains. So with this, the curb and gutter and then pavement utilities are going in either this week or the beginning of next week. So it'll be a flurry of activity up there to get this closed out.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call vote.
Baumgarten,
Aye.
Rusher,
Aye.
Hader,
Aye.
Goodell.
Aye. Brings up the last of our work or scheduled items. Aaron, anything?
No, I'd just like to formally thank everybody who was involved with the 150th. It was absolutely incredible, even exceeded my expectations after working with Susan really hard on making that come through. Tons of volunteers, were fantastic events. A lot of people put in a lot of time to make it happen. And I think some of those events will actually continue into the future years. I think the fire department's interested in possibly continuing the water fights. I know there was a lot of positive feedback. I think it was actually good that on Sunday people were so tired. We actually had some lower numbers at the Barnyard Olympics, but I think it was because it was about 98 degrees and everybody was exhausted from the week. But just really exceeded expectations, and wanted to thank all the volunteers because it was really impressive.
It was very impressive, and it's, for those that missed some of the events, you missed a heck of a deal anyway. Probably one of the highlights, to me anyway, was going up to the cemetery, and Kent was one of the speakers out there, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. The work that those people put into the costumes, the research that had to go into the knowledge of the people that are buried out there was unbelievable. How much time they'd spent on that. So the whole weekend was really cool. Anything else, Aaron?
Nope.
Lori, anything?
No?
Daryl?
Well, in view of the conversation tonight, maybe we should have an unannounced traffic count on 11th Avenue South and 5th Street South.
We can do that. Joe?
Just probably from the Sesco Centennial, it's, became aware of a group, Green Runners, in town. And maybe somebody else knows more than I do, but they clean up the paths, right? And it's just a cool group. I didn't know they existed, and I was really impressed finding out that, I don't know how big it is right now, but, I've seen what that Cottonwood Trail can look like, so if somebody's out there cleaning it up, good job.
I guess one thing I forgot, I said volunteers, there was a lot of, a lot of city employees that, you know, took time out on the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and the 7th to do some work, and that was definitely, without, getting beyond the 8 to 5 mentality or whatever, really went out of their way to help out and get things cleaned up and ready for the next event. And so that was also a big asset too, so didn't want to leave them out.
Yep.
Joel, anything? Steve?
Project Aware was through last week, and last total I heard was when they did the boom and part of the Des Moines, they came up with over $30,000 to $40,000 worth of garbage in a couple of days.
Wow.
You know, it's quite a, if the river levels hadn't have been so high, I think they would have done even
Yeah.
better, but it was fast-moving water and high, and that was,
Yep.
makes it tough to dig garbage out when it's like that anyway, so.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. With that, we need a motion to schedule Monday, August 5th, 2013 at 5:30 PM as a date and time for the next regular meeting of the Humboldt City Council, and adjourn this session at 6:36.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you and good night.